Number one, Israelis get killed, Palestinians just die. Language matters. Israelis are always killed. You can also use the word slaughtered, barbaric attacks, victims of terrorism when describing their tragic deaths. But for Palestinians, given the body count exceeds 10,000, best to keep it ambiguous. Like, all these Palestinians have died. We don't know how. Maybe they spontaneously combusted. Maybe it had something to do with a dodgy air fryer or a Tesla. Number two, pretend to be hearing impaired when all major human rights organisations speak. Allow me to demonstrate. Apartheid. A party for five? That sounds like they're having fun in Gaza. Genocide. Tennicide? Oh, that's a new sport, is it? Number three, pregnant women killed, blame Hamas's tunnels. If you're angry at pictures of dead fetuses and bloodied Palestinian mums, it's Hamas, not the IDF's fault. Hamas has tunnels, remember, everywhere, even to women's wombs. They're hiding in here, okay? Next up, free Gaza from Hamas. At the end of the day, Gazans don't need to be free from getting the crap bombed out of them. They don't need to be freed from occupation and oppression. They just need to be freed from Hamas and even Hamas. Declare a war on Hamas. Never on the indiscriminate violence from the Israeli military, chickpeas and Hamas. Next up, oppose a ceasefire. Like, what's a ceasefire going to achieve anyway? Maybe if you're feeling generous, call for a humanitarian pause where you give Palestinians some water before they get killed. Hydrated corpses decompose better. And the hostages, yeah, sure, we want them back. But not if it means there's a ceasefire or a compromise or a step closer to peace. Nothing exists or happened before the October 7 attack. So if you own a calendar, shred it. Or a textbook that predates October 7, get rid of it, recycle it. I don't care. It's just important to reiterate that this violent insurgency is all a surprise. No idea why it happened or what's been happening to Palestinians since 1948. Number 7, some kids matter more than others. So if you've got to choose between sharing a photo of one child victim, make sure it's a blonde white one from Israel. Even though there are far more brown Arab kids being slaughtered, people will click more and care more. I mean, every child lost is devastating. It's just that some are more devastating than others. I don't make the rules. And finally, self-defense is always a defense, but only when one side does it. Using the self-defense line on loop allows you to wash all the blood from your hands. It makes it okay to starve 2 million people of water, food, medicine, and electricity. They deserve it. They asked for it. Let's not forget there's only one victim on one side, and that's definitely not the ones dying a slow, painful death under the rubble.
So by this time, we are nearing or have probably already crossed 11,000 civilian killed, half of them being children in Gaza. And if you're like me, you've probably been wondering, okay, how many of those have actually been Hamas? The IDF keeps on saying that they're trying their best to avoid civilian casualties, that they're targeting Hamas, and Hamas is using people as human shields. So how many of these casualties have actually been Hamas operatives? Recently, an IDF spokesperson was on Sky News and gave us a bit of insight into that question.
How many Hamas leaders have you killed or captured so far, and how many do you estimate is still to kill or capture?
Unfortunately, many are left, and the most senior ones, they are hiding deep underground. I think we have so far been able to get our hands on mid-level and senior commanders in Hamas, little bit more than 60 of them.
Yeah, you heard that right. 60 Hamas operatives. 60 out of 11,000 total killed over the last month. That's a 99.5% civilian casualty rate. Just think about that for a second. 99.5% of everyone killed has been civilians, people that they're supposedly not targeting, people that are not involved in this conflict at all, that are just innocent bystanders. 0.5% have actually been who they're targeting. At this point, the IDF has to be either the least moral army in the world or the most incompetent. It's got to be one or the other.
So, any other questions? You again, they let you back in?
Yes.
Okay. I guess you can take a question from you. Go ahead. Thank you. So, I have a question here. In Gaza, the health ministry has announced that over 10,000 Palestinians have been killed so far by Israeli air raids. Would you care to comment on that number? Look, we can't confirm those numbers, and according to our analysis, they seem a little bit inflated. So Yeah, we can't really confirm that. So yeah, so what does your analysis actually say, and how did you guys arrive at that analysis? Again, we can't really release that number, right? Because any number that we acknowledge makes us look guilty, and we can't have that. But just so that you know and you're aware, we do have many tools available for our analysis, right? We have surveillance drones, for example, that are constantly circling the Gaza Strip, and those surveillance drones, you know, they see everything. And yes, they're a little bit loud. I personally like to think of it like a white noise machine, you know, that just offers that comfort that people can hear, you know, at night so they can sleep, and hopefully that noise will drown out the sounds of explosions and other bombs that we're bombing constantly the Gaza Strip with. So that surveillance drone is a nice piece of technology, right? It records everything. So if somebody dies or somebody doesn't die, we see it. We record everything, so we know. So like, can you give like an estimate, a ballpark? So let's say it's inflated by 10%, 20%. Does that put the number closer to like 8,000 dead, 9,000? What's your guys', you know, just give me a ballpark. Man, you don't give up, do you? Look, if we acknowledge any number, it's bad PR. It's going to make us look bad. It's going to make us look guilty. It's going to make us look like we have blood on our hands, right? And we can't let that happen. We don't want any of these things to distract from who's the victim here, right? We're the victims. Even though 10,000 people maybe died, we're the victims. Even though we have the airplanes, the helicopters, the tanks, we have all the technology, we have all the bombs, we have all the guns, we're supported by the biggest superpower in the world, even though we control their electricity, we control their food, we control their water, we're surveillance drones and all those other things. We're the victims here, and we can't let anything distract from that. So can we have somebody escort him out? I think we're done with this conversation here. Thank you very much. Wait, guys, again?
Sir.
I just came back. Guys, seriously, I'm just asking questions, normal questions. Wait, I left my coffee.
Forget your coffee. You're done for. Come on.
Thank you.